All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for getting to your desk or coffee just a little bit early and having it in some fellowship with friends, both old and new this morning. My name is Daniel Marbury. I work for the Crosshatch Center for Art and Ecology, and I'm part of the Northwest Michigan Food and Farming Network. Just kicking off the year with our first coffee and conversation themed around food justice in Northwest Michigan. I'm happy to be joining with y'all to have a bit of conversation on that topic. We do these monthly, pretty much the same week each month and the same time, rotating amongst different topics that feel important and emergent within our local food system. Ideas just to spark some conversation and draw out any connections and collaboration which might bear fruit for further conversation and sort of sustained engagement with one another. Before we dive into talking today, especially with the topic in mind, I want to just offer a brief acknowledgement that I live and I work on land that was forcibly taken or ceded by the Anishinaabe people. That's the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi people. And so in my land stewardship and in my community connections, I seek to honor and restore respect and dignity to those people who are still in community with us and still caring for the land. So we'll honor them by introducing some of their food sovereignty and food justice efforts. Unfortunately, both of the people I had spoken to from the Grand Traverse Band and Little Traverse Band were busy and not able to join today. So we'll give them a shout out. They welcomed connections, and I'll bring that back maybe after we've all introduced and gotten into the topic. So what you can expect is just I think we'll do a quick whip around of introductions, and then I'd love to spotlight some individuals who had offered to share a bit of their sort of slice of life and work in the food justice realm as it pertains to things happening local in our region. And then we'll just kind of open it up and see what kind of connections and conversation flows from there. I'm recording this just in case we can share this as a way that people might follow these footsteps to this topic even after this early morning engagement today. We don't expect that everyone can make it in these morning hours. There's work to do and there's also people to care for. So we'll send this along and let people connect in their own time. Just a quick additional introduction I'll share is that I live in what's called Leelanau County. So I'm just outside of Traverse City, and Crosshatch's work extends down to Manistee, over to Misaki, and up to Sheboygan. So that sort of slice of the Northwest Michigan region is where we work, and we do a lot of peer-to-peer learning between farmers and artists in our area. A lot of sort of neighbors sharing skills with one another, skills, experience, and swapping stories. Let's see, we should have a fun icebreaker topic, which I had thought coming to this, share just like a quick image, or not a story, but like a snippet of a story of what's one way you've noticed justice recently. What's a way that's kind of creeped into your life and experience in the last week or month, day?
Daniel, do we want to tell people to introduce themselves, say what they do or where they're from, what they're drinking, and then that part? what their morning beverage of choice is.
Sure, yeah, that I was modeling, but thanks for making it explicit. What you do, or your name, let's say organizational affiliations, which could be both neighborhood groups and also workplace organizations as well. What you're drinking, Michelle said, and then what's one way you've noticed justice? What's a little way that it's kind of popping up for you lately? Personally, I'm just thinking about the importance of rekindling kind of our communities of practice around, well, different agricultural topics. So we have groups we call guilds, which are organized around specific hobbies. And we have beekeepers and herbalists, and there's sort of an aspect of food sovereignty in those efforts, which is that people are supporting one another to have success each growing season. And it's free, open to everybody. So just the importance of tapping into that knowledge base right now as a just effort is really calling to me right now. So there's been some chatter, and looking forward to shepherding that into some good seasonal guild learning this year. I'll pass it. Michelle, why don't you keep us in the rhythm and affirm the formula for introductions?
Formula, yes. I'm Michelle J. Cokes. I think I know most of you. I'm a produce safety technician in Northwest Lower Michigan. I cover 5 counties, and I'm also a part of the Food and Farming Network and a member of the Migrant Resource Council. What I drink in the morning is typically a lot of water and coffee. Sometimes I mix in a little oat milk with my coffee, maybe some honey, and I feel like just some justice that I've seen in the community lately is just more organization and collaboration in terms of supporting others in the community. It seems like people are rallying more to support one another, whether that be through time, monetary support, donating, whatever it is, time, all of that. I've just seen a lot of that since COVID, and just seems like with the current, state of the world, it seems more and more people are recognizing how they can contribute positively. So I feel like that is a form of justice in a lot of ways. I'll pass it over to Jen.
Good morning. I'm Jen Skopp. I work with the Groundwork Center for Resilient Communities and normally work out of their Petoskey office. We are based in Traverse City, but we've got kind of a growing crew in the Petoskey office. You'll meet Casey in a minute. I had an odd morning. I'm usually straight black coffee, French press drinker at home, but I got up really early and took the dog to the coffee shop and got a fancy latte. So I am ready to go. Let's see, and oat milk. My friend drinks oat milk and I don't usually, and so that's sort of a treat today. I think the first thing that comes to my mind recently in terms of justice is the transit in Emmett County group that is working. It's a 30-year conversation to get any sort of public transportation in the county, and there is a extremely dedicated group that just will not give up that we are a part of, that I am so grateful for. They cut MGO, which was a service that Emmett County contracted from Sheboygan County called the Straits Regional Ride, and they just recently cut that. And so folks are really having a hard time getting to work and having to switch jobs, having to switch housing. Housing is a humongous issue here, just as it is probably wherever you are if you're in Northwest Lower Michigan. So just really grateful for the group that just will not give up and wants to propose a transit authority in the area to keep that alive. I get to
Next
pass,
year's
don't I?
report. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll pass to Carolina. I don't know Carolina.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Carolina Taura. I am a community health worker, and I work at Benzie Lilino Health Department. I'm part also of the Migrant Resource Council. It's our first time, I think, officially in this conversations, but very happy to be part of it, and to, looking forward to other meetings and working together. I usually drink coffee in the morning. I like my sugar. I'm from Honduras, so I love my sugar. So but I'm very conscious about trying to keep it under control. So I limit myself. But my little creamer in the morning, I really need. I love French vanilla. But today, actually, talking about treats, a friend of mine that is from Honduras too, her mom sent her something from home, and she shared with me. She was kind enough, and it's a beverage. It's called Pinol, and it's a corn and peanuts. They are grinded together, and you put it's a corn, peanuts, and cinnamon, and you cook it with milk. I like it with milk, but you can cook it just with water, and put just a bit of sugar if you want, or honey, and it makes a thicker beverage that is taste like a little chocolatey. If you can put chocolate if you want to make it a lot more, but it's really yummy to me beverage, and it just reminds me to home. um, I don't remember what I like to talk a lot, so you need to redirect me like the little toddlers, and and remind me what I was supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, well,
Justice.
talking about access to the foods that you love, you sort of brought a little bit of justice in that, but is there any other way that you wanted to reflect that you've kind of been noticing justice at your
Well,
neighborhood?
Yeah, we have been blessed really, not only as a Migrant Resource Council, but I've seen it in the health department too. Many of the organizations we work with to serve our clients have gone above and beyond to be able to make sure that people have services, so that people have what they need. Like WIC, for example, we have switched our modalities of attention for the clients that are supposed to come to us and have a visit with us, and right now we have been doing all these visits by phone, which is extremely convenient for moms, and now they are able to we got a lot of families that were gone from our program because they cannot make it to the appointments, and they're back, and one way or another, that is a lot of help for families right now. They can access very good healthy food from our WIC program. So that is wonderful that it's happening that way. It has been extended again, so we will continue to do that at least till the end of February, and then they usually contact us uh, um, by the middle of the month to let us know if we will continue doing it. I honestly don't see us going back to the office anytime soon. I think we will continue to do phone interviews on at least until June, if not a little before that. But it has been really, really good for clients to be able to do that like that. Yeah. And in our Migrant Resource Council world, is nice to learn that there have been conversations towards granting a little path for, or finding a path for undocumented immigrants to be able to get some kind of legal status in the country. I know there's a lot of work on the area of finding or reinstating driver's licenses for undocumented immigrants, which are very important, and just bringing them back and educating the population about what that means and what it is, right? And so excited and celebrating. Every day I remember, I'm like really thankful because DACA is back on, and we can continue fighting for those that came here not even wanting, probably, but as a children to this country. So hopefully we will be able to accomplish something. There's a lot of hope. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Lots of wind in the sails, it sounds like. You want to pass it to someone else?
What about Casey?
Thank you. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. My name is Casey Haggerty. I'm with Groundwork Center for Resilient Communities. I'm up in the Petoskey office along with Jen and our two Food Corps AmeriCorps service members. I'm drinking coffee this morning, just straight black coffee. I get cavities pretty easily, so it's a little bit dangerous for me to mix sugar with it. In fact, it's probably dangerous for me to be drinking coffee at all, but can't stop. Let's see. So one way I've seen justice recently is I've been making a lot of phone calls to area food pantries, youth centers, senior centers, health clinics as part of one of our hopefully upcoming pilot projects that I'll talk a little bit more about later. And one of the questions I've been asking everybody is if they would like to provide their clients with more healthier and local food options. And every single person I've contacted said yes. And I think that was really remarkable because it shows everyone in the community is really excited and passionate about getting more healthy local foods to the people that they serve. It's just a matter of how, but the passion is there. So I thought that was pretty exciting that people are rallying around getting food grown in the community for people in the community. Let's pass it to Wendy.
Thanks, Casey. I'm Wendy Whelan. I'm with MSU Extension Community Food Issues around Northwest Lower Michigan primarily, and also with the MSU Product Center, which we help businesses, Michigan-based businesses, help develop products in food, agriculture, or natural resource industries. And I'm a business counselor for them. I am drinking coffee as well, black. And Casey, just a little coffee story. I started drinking coffee when I was 2.5 years old at the knee of my Dutch grandmother. And if you've ever visited the Netherlands, wow, do they drink coffee. So I guess she did not ascribe to coffee stunts your growth thinking, because if those of you who know me, my physical stature, it doesn't jibe, or maybe I would have been 7 feet tall. I don't know if I hadn't drank coffee. So I think I've lived a decent life by drinking coffee. So justice, wow. I'm fortunate to work for MSU Extension, where justice issues, diversity, equity, and inclusion issues have really become a core part of what we do, what we strive to do, I should say, in Extension. And I could talk all hour about that, but I won't. But the thing that Danielle, I heard you say, just maybe a small snippet, was when I opened my email from probably you, Daniel, yesterday, and learned that Rosebud Schneider of the Minogan Market, which is a Little Traverse Bay Band market up in Mackinac City, is joining a committee that I'm on. And for me, it's those little but big changes in the people who get to sit at the table in our communities, in our neighborhoods, that one person at a time, I feel like we can become a more inclusive and diverse community. So that was really heartwarming to hear that. Thanks. Next.
Wendy,
Yes.
can you share what committee that is?
I don't know. Can I?
Okay, it's okay. I was just curious.
Daniel said yes.
Mm,
I don't know. Well, yeah,
you're
but
right. It's an anonymous review committee.
it's
for-
an anonymous group. But anyway, a good and yeah, I'll just stop there and pass it to who, maybe Jane and Kelly Lively.
Morning.
You go first? Okay. I'm Kelly, and I could be just known as Jane's mom. That would be fine for me. But but I work for Senator Peters, and I have coffee, the usual, with milk. And I was gonna echo what Carolina said about the immigration bill that's going to be sent over to Congress today, yay. And the other piece of, I don't know, I guess I call it justice, is that the president is leaving the White House today. And I mean, just that alone is an awful lot of justice for a lot of people. And so I guess I'll just leave it at that.
I'm Jane Lively. Yeah, I could also be known just as Kelly's daughter. So, but I'm a farmer at the Lively Farm along with my mom. And I've recently become part of the Food and Farming Network. I'm part of a small group starting a chapter of the National Young Farmers Coalition in our region of Northwest Lower Michigan. And I need a refill actually already. I've got coffee, but I think I see justice around in the change that we're seeing right now in within the country, but in all of these smaller connections locally, I see a lot of like forward moving action that's oriented around justice. Not a lot. I don't know. I don't feel like I have a lot of specifics right now, but there's a lot of little things. All of our work in equity and just in focusing on justice and using that as our catalyst. So that's all.
Yeah, like somebody.
Christy.
Hi, I'm new to the group, obviously. Thomas Hirsch shared the Zoom link with me. My husband and I live in Northport, and we aren't part of any organization. We're just people who try to grow our own food and support local farmers. We've committed to buying local for many years, and so but I'm really inspired by what I'm hearing here. So many wonderful people working for some really wonderful organizations, and I'm glad for that, because when you pose the question of examples, any examples of justice, my first thought was, wow, I really focus on the injustice that I see all around me. In particular, access to good, healthy food. Especially access for people who lack the resources, and it seems like good food is plentiful for the wealthy and the able, and so that's something that concerns me, and I hope at some point here I can be involved in increasing access, particularly up in this area of Northport. So, and I drink decaffeinated teas, primarily herbal teas with honey and cream. So thank you for all the work you're doing, and happy to be here. I think we're not, I think,
Danielle, you're
oh, there we go.
not coming through, yeah.
Testing. Can you hear me now? Want to just circle back around and get some deeper introductions from folks with their work as it pertains to food justice. Just responding a little bit to what Christy had just reflected. You know, I've been in food education, food access work, food justice work for about 10 years now. So I just like been preparing for this conversation, perused some definitions as people were describing food justice, and really the most important seed of a concept you sort of paraphrased just now, Chrissy's, which is the concept that access to nourishing food is a basic human right. You know, so if we begin from there, there are many ways that that emerges, and that we have to commit to that goal. But the very simple concept begins with what you just stated. So you're resonating with the concept, and you're amongst friends and compatriots who are committed to that as well. Since Carolina is joining us as our newest sort of network collaborator, I hope I'll be able to continue to say, could you share just a little more in depth some of the work of the Migrant Resource Council? Thinking like 3 to 5 minutes would be plenty, with the teaser too that Carolina and the Migrant Resource Council has offered to join us for a full call and conversation in February, so we can really focus in on this really crucial aspect to how we all are able to eat here in Northwest Michigan, for a full call. But she's gonna start to make that introduction and connection for us today too.
Well, good morning again. We, as a Migrant Resource Council, we usually work together through the year. We like, our Migrant Resource Council is only for the northwest part of Michigan. There's others in other parts of Michigan, but and most of them usually just work and meet seasonally, just when the migrants are here, for the picking and harvesting, and for la cosecha. I don't remember my English anymore when they're here working. We decided to work year round because winter offers a great opportunity to regroup and organize our work for when they come in. We see very often that families arrive, and many that are new in the area are a little lost getting here, not really knowing where they should be. Our area is a little different to other areas where they go. They usually follow a route. So we have families that go, for example, Florida, Texas, Michigan, or Florida, North Carolina, Michigan, and then it's a cycle, right? That's the route of work. They're very traditional on where they go, and many of them, I have worked with migrants for many years, starting in a Head Start program actually, and now in the health department. And I have noticed that they are very loyal to that one farmer. They come back to that farmer every year, and that's how they do it. So when they're new in the area, it is very hard for them because one of the major barriers that they have is the language. Is they don't know how to communicate. Our area is the areas where they go here are very isolated. They go to like the farms, and the migrant camps are really out of the way, and there's not a lot of Hispanics around. So you go around and don't see many. It's not like going to, I have a cousin that lives in Arlington, and we went there to visit, and I was like very impressed of the amount of Hispanics that I saw around. And I thought, wow, stores, with all kind of different products. You could find yuca, you could find malaca, you can find all kind of fruits and vegetables from our countries, and the products from our countries. You don't see here that. So there's a lot of limitation for them. They come here, they don't know where they are, they cannot communicate with people, and then they go to the store and or to the pantries. Even worse, because at the store, at least you have Myers that carry some of that. They have beans, they have some Mexican products. They have, I have found yuca there, and that people from Central America would use more often. Or they can go to Grand Rapids and get some stuff there. But they go to the pantries if they are in need of food. They go to the pantries and there's nothing that like they can recognize and use. So when COVID kicked in, and we were very worried about isolation, because they would get here from wherever they were coming and had to isolate for a couple of weeks. We didn't want them coming to the stores because they need food. We didn't want them to go somewhere. So what we started doing was organizing our groups, our different people, and we'll contact the family and go get food for them and drop it off at their homes. And then it would take that opportunity to be able to get masks and cleaning products and stuff to them, so they didn't have to go anywhere to, and they had a mask if they needed to go somewhere. But then it was a special moment because you could not go in and shop at the pantries. The bags were put together for us. So we've seen a lot of foods that they were not used because of that, because they didn't know how to cook it. They didn't know what to do with it. And you see that even in a non-COVID time. Many times you go visit, and what they are eating is not very healthy because of that, because they don't have a lot of access to their food, and don't know how to cook what they have access to. So that's a big issue. Language obviously it's a humongous barrier, and transportation. Transportation is often something that stops them, like, because they usually they come here, they're coming in one car. And it's a combination of things: childcare It's a big barrier for us here, for everybody, not only for not only for migrant workers, but for everybody. And so they come here, they get here with the idea that both parents are going to work. Like many farmers that have housing, offer housing because both adults are going to work. But then they are not able to find childcare, and often mom has to stay back at home taking care of the little ones, and daddy is the one who goes out to the farm and works. So he takes the one car. He takes the one car they have, and mom's stuck at home with all the kids, not being able to do things. So that's one of the biggest reasons why a lot of our migrant families don't participate in our WIC clinics, because by the time dad is out, and cherry season is a nightmare. They work all day, super tired. It's very intense. Like then it's every season has their own challenges, right? We as a health department, we actually have accommodated a little bit to that, and we have, through the entire summer, we have migrant clinics, and our WIC clinics for migrants are on Wednesdays from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So they can come and after the day, it doesn't matter, if they usually want to go home and shower. I'm like, you don't it's okay if you're dirty, we know you're working. It's fine. So but it's hard to get them engaged to that. So our migrant clinics are usually low attended, and many don't know about them. We should, and we have been trying to do a little more education through the community so they know that that's a possibility. We have also, as a Migrant Resource Council, been working with Beta Bus to try to find a way to help moms to be able to go to the stores during the day, to be able to go to the clinics during the day using the bus. One of the biggest problems is that they don't have, that the farms are kind of far away, and very often the bus don't want to go all the way there, or they don't have a good path to get there. But it was funny because I actually called Beta. I called and pretended that I could not speak English, and I was trying to book a ride. And it was very interesting, the reaction and the way the person was so confused. She didn't know what to do. She was she tried to find somebody else to help her, but at the end she didn't do anything. She just went quiet and basically let me be frustrated until I eventually would hang off the conversation. So I thought, well, maybe that's the one person that panicked. It was a panic reaction. It was kind of funny. Not really, but And then so I thought, maybe it's the one person. Let's try with somebody else. So I asked another person that was there to call, and he did the same, and somebody else answered, and it was kind of the same response. So we contacted Alan, and we were talking about this, and we ended up collaborating, and I translated a flyer for them, so they would have a Spanish flyer with the information of the routes and the general information on how to schedule a route and a ride and everything. But they are still not able to talk with a client that is trying to book a ride. So that is sad, actually, because there's not only Hispanics around, there's a very large population of Ukrainians around here that don't speak English. You know, a large population of people, like there are people from other countries where they can't hardly communicate with. So there's lines, there's like language lines that they could use, and but it just unveiled a big issue for Beta that many clients are not able to use, and they're not using the bus because of that, not being able to ride to schedule a ride. So,
Yeah, thanks so much. I feel like what you've just shared has been an unveiling of, just a few core themes for areas that our community has work to do. And I heard you in describing not only is providing foods important. I highlighted in the chat, providing culturally appropriate foods that folks are familiar and are reminders of home and nourishment and things that tap into the knowledge that we have to prepare and eat, as well is so essential. It starts with that seed of food is a basic right, but then it becomes infinitely more complicated because we all eat differently and our bodies are all different. So I just appreciate you drawing out the complexity in what you described there, and then access to language as a part of culture and how we tap into knowledge and resources too. And then finally, transportation. Those are, they connect to me personally because I have to navigate those things every day. And so I really look forward to further conversation, just to think about ways that the Food and Farming Network and other interested and concerned neighbors can be involved in the really important work you do. Thanks so much for.
I know I took a lot of time, but I also wanted to point out that education level is a very important thing. Many of our people that are here working in the farms are folks that didn't make it very far. Hardly can read Spanish. Hardly can read Spanish. And here we are trying to make them fill out or complete forms and understand things in English when they can, like many even don't speak Spanish that well. Many of them are for areas where they actually speak dialects from tribes that are still living in community and keeping their own language and culture. So this is very important when we are out educating, doing some education activities, because often they sit and they're very polite, they listen to you, they look like they're engaged, but they don't really understanding what you are saying. So it's I feel like it's a matter of maybe changing a little bit the ways we teach, and doing it more doing a more hands-on teaching where we can cook together, or we can use these things together, instead of sitting and giving them a piece of paper that is going to the trash like
Mm,
no doubt of it. Go into the trash. So
mm,
yeah.
yeah.
I've just to add to what Carolina said, I've only sat in on the Migrant Resource Council meetings for a short time now, but especially all of these things have been, it seems, exacerbated during COVID. Like these were already an issue and they've become even worse during this time, and just all these barriers to basic living, things we do every day that we think is effortless that people can't access necessarily due to certain barriers. Even just like health access, I remember that was a big discussion, and calling Northwest Michigan Health Services and not being able to talk to anyone because there wasn't a translator on staff. To all those things that, when you're sick, you call the doctor and you get in, but this is something that they can't even talk to someone and tell them what's going on or locate where they need to go. So it's just these basic, living rights, and just what we see too, in the States is like migrant workers and seasonal workers make up a lot of our agricultural workers. Like these are not, majority of them are not English speaking. So that's a huge barrier that we need to breach in terms of just training and all these things to be able to make, their work life and regular life easy and livable, and these basic human rights. So
There's a lot of politics involved in this, and a lot of agendas that are behind um, the way general public now see uh, immigrants like, and we are being targeted right now. We are the new target. There, everybody took a turn, Irish took a turn, African Americans took a turn, and it's us now. So then if you look like me, and then you don't experience that often. And I have experienced people telling me, oh, but you came here the right way. And that makes me laugh every time, because I always feel like, was there a right way to come here? Really? I don't believe so. Um, I cannot even compare myself to a migrant worker that comes here because they're desperate and they need it and they feel like there's no other way to make it through. I went to college. My mom's is not a rich person by any means, but I had opportunities. I had the tools to be able to make a living in my country. I just happened to fell in love with a person from the United States, and he stayed in Honduras for many years, but wanted to come back home, and we knew that one of us was not going to be home, and it was going to go somewhere else. So he stayed there for me for many years, and it was my time to come here for him. So my we moved my kids, like our kids, and ourselves here for this. But I didn't come here because I was not going to be able to make it, you know, because I was hungry, because I was in extreme poverty um, in my home, which is not their a situation. So it's sad to see them being discriminated and being seen like you're a farm worker and you're darker, and then you're undocumented. or whatever, when it's not the reality. Many migrant workers are actually US citizens. They're just generations after generations of people that have been working in the fields, and that's what they do, and they just follow the same lifestyle that their parents had. And maybe it's the grandmas or grandpas or the great grandpas and grandmas. They were the first generation here and they were undocumented. The rest were they're all US citizens. So many of them are US citizens, and they leave that discrimination because people assume, oh, it's Hispanic, it's dark, works in the field, illegal.
Mhm. Well, as I said, thanks again for bringing so much perspective, and looking forward to having a conversation with some of your colleagues too, some other of the Migrant Resource Council members, and bringing our food and farming network community into learning and collaboration to address these basic needs that we all can relate to. Wanted to make sure to devote some time to Casey had offered to share a little bit about food access work that's happening in the Petoskey Harbor Springs area. I can certainly stay on the line, and happy to hear an update. Would welcome everyone to stay as long as you can, but understand that we're to our 9 o'clock hour in case folks need to buzz away for other meetings. If you do have to go, thanks for joining us, and hope you'll consider coming next month as well. We'll have an invitation that goes out through the Northwest Michigan Food and Farming Network email listserv, and then also we share information on our Facebook page as well. So that's how to stay connected. Casey, would you share just a brief introduction to some of the food access work that you're involved with? And I can pull up
Sure.
your picture too.
Oh, great. Thank you. Let's see. So a lot of Groundworks food access work, we really believe truly the foundation of our work is that everybody has the right to good food. And local food is some of the most nutritious, most delicious food there is. And it also ensures that there is a livelihood for our local farmers to support themselves. We are a little bit more limited on what kind of crops we can grow up here in northern Michigan. So perhaps some of the foods that are locally grown aren't always going to be culturally relevant to all populations living here. However, we do believe that increasing access to local food is one of the best ways we can support community food justice. It's not the only way, but it's one of the ways. And so if the slide comes, there it is. We try to increase local food access through supporting farm to institution work, so farm to school, farm to pantry. We promote capacity building programs for individual organizations, whether that's a food pantry, youth center, senior center, to increase the amount of local food options that they offer clients. We do a lot of support education programs, culinary education, because as Carolina pointed out, not everybody knows how to cook certain foods. That's especially true if you get local food, which is often in the form of whole food. Not everyone knows how to cook a raw parsnip or make something delicious with raw cabbage. And so culinary education we achieve through some culinary education series through health clinics, where such as Dinner with Your Doctor, which our colleague Paula Martin just ran successfully last fall, where people at a health clinic actually cooked with their doctor during a 6-part cooking series. But we also have farm to school education programs too, where students in schools actually get to cook food in the classroom and learn how to engage with food in that way. And we do that through Food Corps. and also other farm to school support activities. But really quick, in terms of food access with food pantries, because that is one of the best ways we can make sure that food access is reaching everybody, is we do a lot of partnering with local food emergency food programs like the Northwest Food Coalition and the Manna Food Project, which is more up in the northern counties. And we partner with them. And recently we have developed 2 guides to send out to them, a healthy pantry toolkit. Every pantry partnered with those 2 organizations received a copy, and it helps each pantry know how they could increase the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables that they offer their clients, and make sure their clients know what to do with it. And then all of the pantries also received guides to food assistance and eating local that they could distribute to their clients. So within that guide, clients can find resources on where to find food pantries in their area, how to cook food, store food, how to get engaged with food assistance programs if they need to. And actually, Carolina, as you were talking, how great would it be if we could have this translated into other languages too? That would be something.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, and how good would be. I love the idea of cooking with your doctor,
Mm,
and maybe have something where they can teach us, and not us go teach them how to cook, but they can teach me how you make mole poblano, you know, and
yeah.
so we can enrich that and find a way to make it healthier for it.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I really like where that could go. I should get your contact information
Yeah.
so we can continue that conversation. Um, I will just say our food equity specialist does a lot of collaboration with Northwest Food Coalition, particularly with farm to neighbor purchasing. Taylor could have spoken a bit more about that, but it's where the Northwest Food Coalition is able to purchase food from local farms at market price and then distribute it to their food pantry clients. So that's a wonderful program. And Manna also does a lot of their own farm to pantry work and local food purchasing up here too. And I think we'll cap it there. And if you have any other questions about some fun local food access work that's going on in the northern counties, I'll drop my email in the chat.
Thank you very much. And I had wanted to spotlight a whole area that Casey had highlighted on her slide, which I had just been in quick email conversation with her colleague Diane Connors about, which relates to that farm to school pillar Casey highlighted. There's a whole policy initiative called the 10 cents a meal program, which is dedicated to getting additional funding to schools for the purchase of fresh local foods. So, you know, you can see how it fits into all the themes that Casey highlighted. I think one thing that's important about that as an aspect of food justice is that when we consider how young children are exposed to foods and how they are able to access foods, for some students, the school food program may be the way they access 2 and even 3 meals a day for those weekday meals. And so thanks for joining, Michelle. We'll see you. So we just think about how food comes to our area children and their daily lives, and school is one of those important vehicles that many children are attending, and sort of kind of a common area for exposure and potential education. So just wanted to give a special shout out to another one of Casey's colleagues, a part of that area of work. And I will include the chat in what we follow up with. There's some resources that I have shared and others have shared, as well as some other contact information. And as I mentioned, we hope to have, well, we plan to have a conversation with the Migrant Resource Council in February for a more extended dialogue, and maybe we can bring some thoughts and even new efforts to that as we continue to stay in communication with you, Carolina, and your colleagues. And then also, we hope to connect in a more extended way with our Grand Traverse Band and Little Traverse Band neighbors who are working on food sovereignty and food access initiatives. And in fact, Rosebud, who Wendy had mentioned in our introductions, her reason for not being able to join us today is that she's preparing hominy, and she has been for the last week as part of some care packages that they're providing to people who receive their COVID vaccination. So just merging, cultural appropriate foods, traditional foods with health access, and using it as a way to encourage people to focus on kind of their whole health right now. And that's such an important area of concentration. She was just like, I can't think about anything other than corn right now, which is, I mean, that's the way we should be. We should be devoting much more time to thinking about intentionally about our food and health. So I just wanted to give her a shout out and say that she's doing the work, and that we look forward to an opportunity to connect with her to discuss the Manojin Market Wendy had introduced, which is public facing local food sales outlet that the Little Traverse Band is operating through food that they produce at their Zibimi Zhuang farm, which is a tribal owned and operated farming venture. And so I shared a link to that in the chat. Just wanted to give them a shout out, and then also shout out quickly the Grand Traverse Band in the this lower Lake Michigan area also has an agriculture and food sovereignty department that has a number of food access, food justice initiatives that have included plant giveaways to the community, have included some revitalization of old orchards, community garden and farming efforts. So I've been in active collaboration with them. And as we approach the coming growing season, we'll be connecting with them as well. So maybe we can ask both of our tribal neighbors to join us for a call in the coming months this spring. We've already discussed planning for that. So it's a little bit of what you can look forward to if you're able to join some of these other coffee and conversations. And we'll also be sure to extend the invitation to our planning meetings too. These are opportunities to stretch and grow, and then we want to put it down on paper and make plans to do work too. So those happen in between these weeks of our coffee and conversation. Appreciate y'all staying on the line. Nice to have a little bit of an extra morning time. I've almost finished my cup of coffee, but not quite. So that'll send me into my first work for today. And I hope y'all have the same good start to your day.
Thanks so much for the
Thanks,
invitation.
everybody.
Thanks for what you shared. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.
Have
Yep,
a great day.
take care.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.